Hi, I'm Donna from She's Got Legs. We're a women's run company. We are powered by women, and one of our sales reps introduced me to Shelter Movers. They're an organization that helps women. Meredith runs the GTA chapter, which covers Halton, so I'm very pleased to introduce her tonight.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Donna. So I'm Meredith. I go with she and her pronouns, and I don't say that I am happy to be here. I say I'm grateful to be here because I'd like to be without a job. But the reality is gender-based violence and intimate partner violence are very real experiences that we have in our communities, and we're a long way from me being jobless. We are going to talk about some heavy themes in my next few minutes, and so if you are feeling that you are ready for help, please reach out to somebody who can help you. That might be the Assaulted Women's Helpline, or it might be a caring friend, but the statistics that we're going to talk about tonight are astounding. 1 in 5 Canadians experiences or will experience or has experienced violence or abuse at the hands of a spouse. And so when you think of 100 women coming together, there are perhaps 20-odd people in here who have had or will experience this. Next, please. As I mentioned, these are some pretty staggering statistics. The problem is in communities across Canada. It's not a rich problem or a poor problem. It is not a rural problem or a city problem. We do see some populations that have higher levels of risk, but it really is a problem in all of our communities. Next, please. Shelter Movers was founded in 2016 to address a major gap in services. And that is what happens when you have found the courage to leave and you need or want to take your stuff with you. So we provide free moving and storage services, and we facilitate pet fostering for people who have a safe place to go and are ready to make a transition to a safer life. Thank you. I have some quotes from survivors, but I actually thought I would tell a brief story about an experience here in Halton. We're very new to doing more moves in the Halton area. It's part of why I'm here, thank you, is that hopefully we can grow our boundaries and start serving other communities more broadly. But I was on a move about a week and a half ago here in the Halton region, and the woman was a young mom. She had 4 kids, and she had been living in one room in a shelter for probably about 9 months. And 2 of her kids had gone to school. She had 2 of her kids with us when we went on the move. And one of the little boys found a box in the storage locker and started, as a little boy does, pulling it apart, and found one of his toys that he had been missing. And so because we were able to go in and collect their belongings and keep their belongings safe for them while they were waiting for permanent housing, this little guy found it was a little red car. It was really cute, but very important to him. And so a very real impact that we have on families and kids. Next, please. Unfortunately, the barriers for keeping your belongings are very, very significant. Our work at Shelter Movers, we really feel we address the emotional, financial, and safety concerns, but housing is also a challenge, and so residential availability plays a big role in when people can and are ready to leave. Next, please. When people move into shelter, when women move into shelter, typically they're asked to bring 2 or 3 bags. And when you call police or when you call many of the hotlines, they have a list for you, and it's not the things you think about. It's not your child's first pair of shoes. It is things like your passport, any legal documentation you need. And that very quickly fills up the baggage that you're allowed to bring with you, the luggage that you're allowed to bring with you when you move into shelter. Next, please. So currently in Toronto, we serve Peel, York, and Toronto very thoroughly, and we complete 40 to 50 moves every month. That's almost exclusively volunteer powered. So I have 3 full-time staff, 3 part-time staff, and 300 volunteers. And we are not scratching the need in our communities. And we're not doing a lot of moves out in the Halton region yet, but there is desperately a need here. We also, unfortunately or fortunately, we serve 10 cities across the country, but of course, I'm worried about Toronto and the Greater Toronto area. When you think about those numbers, most of our clients have at least 2 children. And so when you think about a mom and 2 kids times 50 moves a month, that's a lot of people that we are able to impact. As I mentioned, we can go to the next slide. We are very, very, very volunteer powered. We could not do this without our fantastic volunteers. And we keep our per cost move quite low. So if you've moved recently, you probably spent more than $200 or $300 on a move. That covers our fuel, vehicle rentals, and some of the storage fees. A lot of our storage is provided free of charge. But with support from this community, what we would like to do is to really expand our network of storage facilities, of referral agency partners, and our ability to complete moves in the Halton area and in Burlington. And part of what we need to do that, we have this magic formula where we need volunteers, we need referral agencies, and then we need funds to cover the cost of staffing. But with a $10,000 donation, we would probably start with about $2,000 of that towards volunteer recruitment, and then the remainder we would use to cover our expenses in terms of our per cost moves. Next slide. One of the, sort of coming to the end, but one of the very first events, I've only been with Shelter Movers for 5 months, maybe 6 months now. One of the very first events I went to was, it was a fundraising event for young professionals. And a woman came up to me very quietly and gave me a hug. And I was like, okay, cool. She gave me a hug and she said to me, "You saved my life." And I said, oh my gosh. When she was in high school, her and her mom were moved in the very first months of Shelter Movers. And she's gone on to become an engineer and to have a wonderful life that's safe and away from the dangers that she experienced, and hopefully breaking the cycle of violence that she was being raised in. And so the impact we have is important. It is significant. It changes the course of people's lives. So we would love your support. Next slide. I'm on a stage here with 2 other amazing charities, and so I appreciate, it feels a little weird that we're wrestling for donations, but one of the things that's really important when we come to events like this is that you learn about us. And so maybe you know somebody that you can connect to us, maybe you want to volunteer with us. We have moving volunteer roles, we also have remote volunteer roles, which we don't talk about all the time, but that are wonderful and helpful. And if I can be of assistance with someone you know, or if you have some time or energy or talents to donate to us, we would be delighted to have you. Thank you very much.